to the About Ewe Podcast. My name is Madeline and I will be your host for today. It is the middle of January 2018 and I'm recording in Sydney, Australia, where I live, and it's been really warm lately. So I'm pretty sure I spoke in a couple of episodes ago about how hot it was back in December. Well, it's only gotten worse, and we're in a little bit of a cool stage at the moment, so it's 25 or 26 degrees, but it feels really warm at the moment, and I've got my aircon on, so you might hear that in the background. Just trying to cool down. That being said, it is a really nice cool change from the 40 degree or like high 30s days that we've been having towards the end of last week, so it's a nice refreshing change. So yeah, anyway, I didn't mean to talk about the weather, but here we are. So like I said, I'm Madeline, and you can find me online as Madbell on Ravelry and mad.about.ewe on Instagram. And I'm probably most active on Instagram, but my Ravelry pages are pretty up to date, and I've been working through uploading my stash onto Ravelry as well. So feel free to go and check me out on those platforms if you want. Today I actually wrote sort of some show notes or a plan of what I wanted to talk about, which I haven't done for a while, which hopefully will make the show notes easier to write for me. I just wanted to start the episode by having a quick kind of discussion about some discussions that have been happening in the last week or so in the knitting community, and these discussions are mostly being held around inclusion or inclusivity. I don't even know if that's a word, that's strange. Diversity, particularly with regards to race, and it's quite large in America, particularly with people of colour, but it was actually sort of brought to my attention by an Australian person on Instagram, Secreta, and I will link to her Instagram profile below. So it's been really divisive, but I think that's mostly because when you are a person who holds white privilege or is white presenting, to see these things which are really confronting can spark a lot of defensiveness within a person. And I know that personally has happened to me before in certain situations, and not so much this time first up with reading, but I've been doing a lot of reading and a lot of engaging with different people in the Instagram community who are, I guess, educating me and everyone else who's open to receiving what they're putting forward. So I just wanted to say that I'm aware of what's happening. I'm doing my own reading and my own research, and I'm particularly interested in kind of the division that we have in the Australian, not so much even just knitting community, but in general. And I think that this is something that can be taken outside of just our community, and so I just want to be the best person that I can be, and so that in my interaction with people, that they're genuine and for the most part, not offensive, and I don't want to be unintentionally offensive or make someone feel other or whatnot. So I'm going to link below some books that I've purchased that I haven't started reading yet, a workbook that I am working through, and so if you feel to, I'd really encourage that you engage with some of that and the content. So I'll also put people who on Instagram stories, if you see the highlights, you'll be able to see basically, if you go on their profile, some of their experiences. And something that really didn't sit well with me is that people have felt not included because of their race or ethnicity, even in the Sydney area, which Australia feels like a really multicultural place, and I guess it is. There are lots of cultures and lots of people who reside here, but I want to live in a society, in a world where everyone feels valued and included. So I'm hoping that, by doing this work, I will be able to create this space if it continues, and I would like to put it out there that is totally welcoming of anybody, regardless of your intersectionality or race or ethnicity. So please feel welcome to be part of the About Ewe community. Not that there really is a big one, but if there is to develop, I have no aversions, and I am doing a lot of reading and educating myself about how I can, basically just be a better human or be a better ancestor, as Layla Sayed says. So without any more discussion on that point, it wasn't the most eloquent, but I felt like I probably should address that in this podcast. So on to, it feels so strange to just segue straight into something else, but I really don't have any other options. So into my finished objects section. So this is a part of the podcast I talk about anything that I've finished recently, and I have 2 finished objects to share today actually. So the first one is my Kobuk Hat by Caitlin Hunter, which you can see here. I'll just pop that closer so you can actually see the bubbles and this particular patterning, which I really like. So the yarn I used for this one was Natural Fibre Arts, and a Debbie Bliss Angel Mohair silk blend, and it's in the eucalypt colour, and I can't remember the Debbie Bliss, but I'll link that below, and it's also on my project page. And I can't say I love the knit the whole time. The pattern is by Caitlin Hunter, if I didn't already say. And it was the first time I ever used a cable needle. It's the first time I did any cabling, and there's not a lot of cabling to be honest, but it wasn't as confronting as I thought it was going to be. And I have woven in the ends, but I actually haven't cut them off. I would put this on, but my hair's up because it's really, maybe I can do it. There we go. So I was going to put a pom-pom on there. I probably still will, I just haven't found the right colour. And it actually fits alright when I've got a bun on, so tuck that away and you can see that. So it's the pattern was kind of difficult up to about row 10, which is in here somewhere. And then I found someone at a Sunday knitting group that I attended actually had knew someone else who had good notes on Ravelry, so I borrowed those and I've used them, and I'm pretty sure I've linked to that, or basically highlighted what I did in my project notes on Ravelry. And then also Caitlin Hunter has released an updated version of the pattern which should clarify the issues that quite a few people were having, in particular with that row 10. So that was a fun knit. It required a lot of concentration, which I haven't really had to do for a beanie for a long time, so it was challenging. And I enjoyed it. So I'm glad that's done. And that was my first Caitlin Hunter pattern, I think. I've bought a few others, but I haven't knit them yet. So I'm definitely on the Caitlin Hunter bandwagon this year with a few other projects I've got planned. My next finished objects is my socks for me. So these haven't been washed, and I've only just put them on the blockers. I finished them New Year's Eve. So, oh gosh, nearly a month ago. 3 weeks ago. I haven't sewn in the end from that afterthought heel. But the yarn was a Regia hot and spicy, sweet and spicy, and this is just a opal for the leg, and Regia in just a pink for the heel. And I just did, so this is my sock tube that I got from Fragility, so you can see that rolled hem that I got made on the socks. And I just basically followed Susan B. Anderson's afterthought heel method, and they pretty well match. I think they're a couple of rows out. There's a bit of green in one of the toes or something, but pretty happy with how they turned out. I'll sew those in, and I won't be wearing them till winter at least, so that doesn't really matter. And I actually do have another finished object to show, which is this pair of socks here. So, you can see my window. So I've finished these ones for my husband, and they're basically same deal. I don't remember the brand of the sock yarn for the leg and the foot, and then it was a West Yorkshire Spinners actually for that heel. So I've got heaps of that left over, so if I do buy my sock machine, I've got plenty of heel in the blue colour. So that's that. That's my only finished objects. I have a few works in progress, so I'll start showing you those. So the one that I've done the most work on, and I just put them all in my washing basket at my feet, is my Marinda by Amber O'Brien. And got the pattern. Yeah, I've shown this shawl several times, and I'll also link to my my 2019 plans video. So yeah, like I said, this pattern is by ambaho'brien, and it requires 3 different skeins of 4-ply fingering weight yarn, and I chose to use a single ply that I got. This is the Dove colorway by Circus Tonic Handmade, and then I got the blue, which is that Selkie, I can't remember, sorry, colorway by Nana Bar Yarns. And then the last colour here is Silver Fox and a Madeleine Tosh, and it's the first time I've ever used Madeleine Tosh. It's a sock, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm on a quest to knit with Aussie yarn this year for the most part, but I honestly would be more than happy to buy that Madeleine Tosh again. So yeah, this is what I have so far. So you start, sorry, my needle minders is being bothersome. Yeah, so start with 1 colour, alternate stripes for a certain amount of rows. Then you do this eyelet pattern alternating with those 2 colours, and then here again. So it's kind of blowing out, but they are really soft colours. So once I finish this, I think I've got another 10 rows or so of these alternating stripes. It's actually probably 20 rows, 10 10 up and backs. Oh my goodness. I've lost my train of thought. Oh, I'll move into another stripe of the blue, and then we'll probably, I think it moves into a decrease section. So yeah, I honestly didn't knit for the last week, and I put a post on Instagram yesterday about that, and I think it's for a variety of reasons. It's been really, really hot. I went back to work this week, so I've been really busy during the days, and then when I get home I'm pretty exhausted. And then also all the dialogue that's been happening in the community, like I said, which has taken a lot of time to do a lot of reading and ponder, and I just don't think a lot of things that were sitting particularly well with me. So yeah, but I made some progress this weekend, finally, when I could pick up my needles and actually knit more than a few stitches after it did cool off. So yes, that's good. My next work in progress is about to be frogged, and I will make it again, but it's my Sizzle Pop shawl. This is so shameful. It's my Sizzle Pop shawl by Leslie. Oh, where's the front page? Leslie Ann Robinson of Knit Graffiti. So this one here. And I have about 4 rows. And I don't have the right amount of stitches, so it's going to be frogged. So last Sunday I said I was going to frog it. I haven't frogged it yet, but I will. And my friend Emily, who I met through knitting, just being in Sydney and knitting, she has done a few Sizzle Pops, and she's going to help me out. So hopefully next weekend or sometime before I leave, she will be able to help me out and get me on the right track again. So we thought we were doing really well. Turns out not so much. My next work in progress, I thought I had 4. Oh, I do, there's one more of 4. Okay, so after I got back from knit group last Sunday, I say knit group, it's really not knit group, it's a group of people that turn up on a Sunday to a local yarn store and knit. So anyway, and I thought I needed a brioche palette cleanser because I was really struggling, something really easy. So I cast on the Vanilla Fog Hat by Andrew Mowry, which I bought earlier this year during her sale, and I got to the 4th round, and I am also 1 lot of stitches short, 1 brioche. So this will also need to get frogged, which I'm not super devastated about because I feel like I'm not the keenest on the colours, but the purple colour was supposed to be in the Find Your Fade shawl that I never ended up making, and I've used the black on a shawl I made for my mum a few years ago. So both of them are half skeins. Actually no, the purple one for the Find Your Fade was more than a half skein. It was a full skein, but I didn't want to... I'd cut it in half already because I'd measured out what I needed for the Find Your Fade. And then I tried making something else with it, and then that didn't work either. Either What You Fade. Anyway, I can't remember. It didn't work. I wasn't happy with it. So, yeah, I can't de-stash it. Or, I mean, I could, but it's been hanging around in my stash, and I just thought I'm going to use it. But I'm not super happy with it in that pattern, so we'll see. My final work in progress is something I haven't touched in a little while, but these are my snow socks from this year. So I didn't exclusively knit on them at the snow while it was snowing, but I made quite a dent in them when we went camping earlier this year. Yeah, the first couple of days of the year. So the yarn is 3 Mums yarn, and that's theirs as well. It's a contrasting cuff, and I was going to make them, they were for myself, and I was only knitting on them when I was in the vicinity of Jindabyne Threadbow, where the snow is near where I live. And so I knit on them in the winter, and I didn't get very far, and then also in the summer. So that was really cool. I figured out I cast on 60 stitches, and I think that I need a 64 to make things fit. So my sister asked for a pair of socks over Christmas, and as devastated as I am, I think I'm gonna have to give them to her, which is fine because I had another pair that I was planning on knitting, that I was in the middle of knitting, that I had in mind that I would give to her, and I quite like those colours, so yeah, I think she'd really enjoy these as well, but I'll have to just check with sizing. Well, once I put a heel in, I'll figure out whether they fit me or not, or if I can get them on my foot, and that'll be the deciding factor, whether they stay with me or if they go to my sister. But yeah, the yarn's really nice to knit with, and I've decided now that they will get knit when they get knit, not just around that particular location, because I would not get them finished till next year probably, and I don't really want a pair of socks on the needles for over 2 years, because that's just, I like to finish things. Just check my notes again. Cool. Yeah, so it's all my works in progress. I have one thing that I've recently acquired. Where did I put them? So Addie has brought out the Crazy Trio, which is like a set of 3 needles. It's kind of like double pointed, kind of like Magic Loop, but it's a mixture of the two. Anyway, it's really expensive to get Addie Crazy Trios in Australia, or buy them and get them sent to Australia. So I was on eBay looking for another set of my beloved High Sharps 100cm 2.5 needles, which I use for socks because I've only got one pair and they're on the needles at the moment, and I really want another pair or another set, and I can't find them anywhere. There's the normal Highs and there's also High Sharps. So if you see this and you've used the Higher, which is just the silver, no blue, I think, can you comment below where you got them, because I can't find them anywhere, and I'd really like another set, another set. But while I was looking for that, a chronic yarnholic who the person or the eBay store or the yarn store that I usually buy my High needles from had this. So it's the High Sharp circular knitting needles. They are called Higher Flyers. So they're 8 inches, 20 centimeters, a US 1.5 or a 2.5mm needle, and you get 3 needles. So essentially, it's like the Flexi Flips or the Crazy Trio, I think, but the higher version. So I feel like I'm gonna have to watch some videos before I figure out how to use those. But anyway, they came just on Friday. Really quick postage. So thank you. I mean, I know I bought them, but super quick postage, and I thought I'd just talk about them. So I will figure out whether I am going to, or how to use them, or whatever. That made no sense. Anyway, moving on. Okay, something exciting happened to me yesterday. So I was watching the Chelsea Pearls podcast, which is hosted by Christina and Miriam, and basically Chelsea Yarns is a yarn store in Red Bank, New Jersey in America, and Christina is the owner, and Miriam I think works there, and she's really good friends with Christina. So anyway, I've been watching their podcast for a while. They're really funny. So for their 5,000 subscribers, they asked that people send them a postcard and just write a message, and I didn't realize they were going to read it out on the podcast. I obviously wasn't listening very well. But anyway, I sent a postcard to the podcast, and they saw it and they read it out. So I took a screenshot and I put it on Instagram yesterday. And anyway, Christina, I imagine, she like commented on it. But anyway, this is the screenshot of them reading out my postcard. So if you read it, and there's one from Australia, from Madeline, and the postcard says g'day, and so they read that out, and then I don't think I said g'day. Actually, you know what, I probably did. I don't usually say g'day in real life, but anyway, a bit Aussie for you. I think we become a little bit more bogan when we go overseas, or like super Australian or whatnot. So yeah, that was really cool. And then they commented on my post, which was really nice. So yeah, it's kind of like feel a little bit smaller. And I guess that's a nice segue into my next topic, which will probably be my last topic for now. So this year, I've alluded to a few times, it's going to be a really busy year for me. I'm not going to be in the country a lot or around a lot because I've got heaps of travel for work. So yeah, I've been wondering what to do with the podcast. And when I started it, I knew that there was a distinct possibility that this year I wouldn't be around much, but I thought I'd give it a go anyway. And I'm pretty glad that I did, because I've made some new friends through the podcast, and I feel like which is, I guess, maybe strange because of what I was talking about when I opened the podcast, but I felt like the knitting community has grown for me because I didn't really know a lot of knitters in real life, and being quite young, I guess, a lot of people see knitting as an older person's game. Yeah, so anyway, I felt like I've met a few people, I've made some friends through here, and other podcasters, not probably like, I don't have 70 subscribers or something, which is still absolutely dumbfounded that 70 people would tune in to watch me ramble on, but they do, and I appreciate you. So what I'm going to say next is kind of a little bit sad, but yeah. So I may do another podcast before I leave on the first trip. So this may not be the last one for a while, but it also could be. And I just want to say, essentially, I'm going to put the podcast on hiatus. I've been trying to think about how I can do it while I'm away, and I just don't know that I'll have good enough access to the internet. But I have been thinking that what I will do is when I finish something, so I'm still going to keep knitting, I just won't have great access to technology, which makes the whole podcasting YouTube thing really hard. So I think what I might do is, if I can, when I'm alone, is record like a finished object kind of discussion thing, and what I might end up doing is editing them all together, and then I can put that up on the channel, and you can kind of see what I've been up to, or what I made for 4 months, or whatever it is, the time that I'm going to be away for. And then I was kind of debating on the future of the podcast. Do I stop now? Do I have anything new or unique to say? And I did mention this to one of my friends who I met through Fibershare, and she said there's heaps of different topics, and she listed a few. So I guess, I'm going to take the couple of months that I'm going to be away and figure out whether I really miss the podcast. It is quite a lot of extra work, and mine are never super long, so I don't know how people who edit podcasts that are like an hour and a half long go, but good on them, because half an hour or 20 minutes is kind of enough for me. But anyway, if you'd like me to continue, if you have any suggestions for topics that I might want to address when I get back, or whatnot, leave a comment below, or send me a message or a comment on Instagram or Ravelry. I really like seeing Ravelry mail, actually. When I get a little notification in my inbox, it's pretty cool, and I will have access to that. And so Ravelry is probably if you want to contact me the next couple months, Ravelry is probably the best method of technology, because for some reason I can access that, and not so much Instagram or YouTube. So that was a big ramble to say. I don't know what the future of the podcast holds, but I'm hoping that it will continue when I get back, and I may be able to finish. I may be able to keep it up in the second half of the year, but we will see when we get there. So I'm signing off for now. If you see me again before middle of the year, it's a bonus, and hopefully I'll have made some more progress on a few of my whips. Thank you so much for tuning in and for watching in the last 6 or 7 months since I've had the podcast. I really appreciate it. I'm really thankful for the friends that I made, and then Also, quick shout out to one of my non-knitting friends, Chloe, who told me she watched the podcast the other day, and I'm just dumbfounded that someone from my real life actually is interested. So yeah, hi Chloe. And yeah, I think I've said and a lot of times, so I'm going to sign off now. Happy knitting. I can't wait to see what everyone gets up to, or I guess my people that I follow on Instagram, which is a broader bunch of people these days. And yeah, I'll pop some suggestions down below on my show notes, which will probably be pretty extensive this time. I say that now, touch wood. And yeah, thank you for your viewership. I will see you soon. One more thing. I made some footage of my camping trip where I knitted on my socks and we went on a big hike and whatnot. So yeah, I popped that in and you'll be seeing it shortly. Stay around to watch it if you want to. If not, yeah, see you later. Madbell on Ravelry, Mad About You on Instagram. Happy knitting. Bye. Sorry, digger, might get a bit of vertigo.
Keep pushing down and we might stop for a little rest and drink at the picnic table.
Okay.